Welcome to Authentic Journey. This is a show about raw conversations about life and living.
I'm Neliana, a funny, smart, lovely, and sexy woman who loves to challenge ideas.
And my name is Kim. I'm a woman, a mother, a sister, an aunt, a colleague, and I think a great friend. I'm a human being who enjoys connecting with people.
We want to encourage you to give yourself permission to have honest and raw conversations in the search for your own authenticity.
Thank you for joining us. To talk about change. And as we were trying to figure out what to talk about, you were going through change and the uncertainty. I couldn't help but think about, the beauty of uncertainty. I mean, everyone struggles with change. But I think there's a beauty that comes with not knowing, because sometimes when we struggle with change, we don't even know what we're struggling with. And at least in my experience, when I do embrace change, it's always, well, no, it's not always. Sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, right? Sometimes it's not, because it's scary, it's bad. Um, but sometimes it's a pleasant surprise, and we're like, or I'm like, why was I scared in the first place? So I was curious what your experience is with change and just the uncertainty that
I
comes with
think
it.
that the first thing that came to my mind, it was a kind of a session that I had yesterday.
Yeah.
That my client was saying, what is the purpose of planning your life
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have any certainty that that plan is come to life?
Mm-hmm.
And now that we're having this conversation, I think that yesterday I was thinking about what is the balance between planning, because
Yeah.
you need to have goals in life. You need to, or not that you have to, but at least my way of living, I
Mm-hmm.
put goals to my life. So
Yeah.
what is the balance between putting a plan, having goals, but at the same time allowing the space for things that you cannot control, for the uncertainty. And now that I'm saying this aloud, I think that it will be about being flexible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like, because there are so many things that you cannot control, and something that I think that in some ways COVID taught to all of us is that you don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
And one day we will have a regular, normal life, and the next day we will have to stay at home because something else was happening, and we didn't have any
Mm-hmm.
control when we were going to go back
Mm-hmm.
to a normal life, if that's normal life means something.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that that's what is coming to my mind. It's how do you still trying your best or trying to do the things that you wanted to do, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time accepting that there are so many things that you cannot control.
Yeah.
And how do you maintain your peace, the hope when things that you don't control. And I think that sometimes, depending of my personal situation, depending how do I feel emotional, it's easier for me to be open, more open to change and be more flexible. And other times that I'm maybe more scared, and I need to control this because all this is new, is scary.
Yeah.
So I don't know what is coming to your mind.
So what I was just thinking about letting go of control. Because when I hear change, it's almost like, for me, it's scary because I don't know how to engage in it, because I don't know what's coming. And I think it's human nature to want to have some kind of control, at least about our lives or what we're doing. But change challenges that, right? It challenges the fact of control. Um, and because of the uncertainty nature of change, um, fear sets in because if we're not in control because this change is happening, then who is? Right? It's almost like, are we giving away control? And sometimes control can be seen as power. Um, but in my experience, both personal and professional, I'm realizing that control for me is not necessarily power. Sometimes control is the control having power over me. Um, and sometimes just trying to be in control, I'm learning that sometimes it gets in the way of me actually getting what I want, or it gets in the way of me evolving and, growing in the way that I need to grow. Um, I remember a conversation I was having a while back. I forget who actually, no, I remember who he was with, but the person said something about living in a different vibration, right? Like living your life in a way that you're vibrating differently. And that really resonated with me because if I keep staying the way I am or where I am, I'm always going to be vibrating that way. But if I allow myself to change and evolve, then I'm going to vibrate differently. I'm going to shift differently. I'm going to evolve differently. And also, I always would work with my clients. So I'm always taking in what I work with my clients. I always tell my clients, when you're uncomfortable, you're growing. So I've learned with life that whenever I'm very uncomfortable, whenever change is happening, in as much as it's scary and it's uncomfortable and it's annoying, um, I take consolation in the fact that I'm growing. It's growth. And that gives me peace, even when I'm very uncomfortable, right? I'm really resisting it. I'm fighting it, but I'm telling myself, in Chem, you're growing. I don't like it, but I'm growing. And that's what I use to find my peace, when I'm struggling with change.
I, I completely agree with you. However, I'm having right now in my mind like two different ways of thinking or defining what is change and what is control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we can spend a few minutes talking about what means change for us and what means control,
Yeah.
because change, it could be something as small as, I planned that today I was going to work until 4 and then pick up my kids and doing this. And then I
Mm-hmm.
receive a text that
Yeah.
changed all my schedules,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think that kind of change
Yeah.
and the control that I have over the situation or not,
Mm.
at least in my mind, sounds different.
Yeah.
That the change about growing, evolving,
Yeah.
and be uncomfortable with who you are in that moment of transition until you
Mm.
get to that point. It makes
Yeah.
sense what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because if I make this differentiation, I think that I struggle more with the small changes
Yeah.
than with the change that is about evolving. And I don't know why. And maybe it's the same. So that was the reason that I'm asking you this question to you, because for me, the way that my day, the week, or the months are kind of in some way planned need some order, need some organizing, need that
Mm-hmm.
some
Mm-hmm.
specific things happen at a specific time, uh, to make my life easier or to the day go smooth. Uh, but the change that I'm more about who I am and how do I relate with the world, I think that I make the decision many
Mm-hmm.
years ago about always allow myself to change and to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that it's easy, but I feel that I don't struggle that much like with the daily task. And the
Yeah,
daily
yeah.
task, I think that I'm more in control mode. Like, no, this
Mm-hmm,
has to
mm-hmm,
happen here.
mm-hmm,
Uh, while the other process of evolving, it's so unclear. I don't know exactly how
mm-hmm,
it's going to look. That for me is
mm-hmm.
difficult to try to control something that I just understand the process, but I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any
Yeah.
idea of how the result is going to look. So because I don't have that specific image,
Mm-hmm.
for me it's more easier in some way to
Yeah.
let the control. I don't know
Mm.
if it makes sense.
Oh, it absolutely makes sense because, like, the day to day, because we have structures, it's easy, right? You wake up in the morning. I mean, I have a plan. I look at my plan. I'm like, what am I doing today? Right. I mean, I literally have, in my planner today, I mean, literally looking at it, I had a dental appointment before this, and I'm meeting with Eliana from this time to this time, then I mean, we have structure. So it's easy for us to change, through the day because we do have structure and some kind of control. But when it comes to personal change, that's different because like you said, there's no structure. So you don't see it. And because you don't see it, you don't even know how it's happening, but the evolution is happening. Um, and that one is and for me also it's hard because my body feels it, my mind thinks it, but because like unlike the day-to-day structure, I can't go back and look at my calendar and say, okay, I met with Nelly and I made this call, I did the session. How do I check box? How do I check the things that have changed through the days? How do we do that?
I'm not sure that I follow you in the sense that what I was trying to say is that for me it's more difficult the change of the daily task. And I
Ah,
think that you say that the change of evolving is more difficult for you. So
yes.
for me, and that was what I was trying to say, it's
Ah,
the daily, because I have an structure of the thing that I
mhm,
wanted to achieve in that day, that I
yeah,
already planned and a specific thing. When something changed,
mm,
it kind of mess
yeah,
with the organization that I have for that day or the goals
yeah,
that I wanted to achieve for that. So that
mm,
a small thing that it's like, now that I need to do this that I wasn't not planning to do, how do I
yeah,
still make all the other things that I wanted? So I am struggle with that flexibility of
ah,
letting go maybe
mm,
something that I planned for today
yeah,
because something else happened. Because in
mm,
some ways I have this idea that for some reason I decided that today I was going to do
and
this,
everything is
and
supposed to fall
then
in that way.
it's
Yeah.
and I know that this is crazy, but in my mind it sounds perfectly organized, it's productive,
Yeah.
it's great. So please don't mess with my
Anything
day
up because it's
thing.
gonna throw everything off.
So I can hear how in some way sounds crazy, but for me, because I already planned something specific, it's more
Mm,
difficult to let
yeah,
go that specific plan that
yeah,
just to have the life goals, because the
yeah,
life goal is so abstract
yeah,
that allow me more to be or I allow myself to be more flexible
yeah.
because I don't have a specific image. But when I put a plan and I
Mm,
put dates and I put steps,
yeah,
then it's when I really hard time to let
yeah,
go because
yeah.
I, in my crazy mind,
Mm,
I say that this was the perfect way of
yeah,
doing things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I like that you clarified that because you're absolutely right. For me, this is the day is actually easier because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I've had like everyone else, I've had a lot of hard things thrown at me. So I think with time, I've learned to just let go. I don't know how, but I think I've learned to let go. Um, Like, for example, prior to the meeting, I had a dental appointment and, you texted me, said, hey, are you going to be able to record? I'm like, sure, why not? In my mind, I didn't even think about it until you said it. I didn't think about it because in my mind, I'm like, I already have this appointment. We're going to meet. I didn't think that coming from a dental appointment will affect it. My mind is so used to adapting and adjusting that I did not even see an obstacle. Um, and when things get thrown at me, my mind, I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing this way. I'm going to do this way. Check, and I just keep it moving. And in that moment that the shift is happening, I'm like, okay, I'm changing or I'm adapting. And I don't struggle with it because somewhere through all the stuff that life has thrown at me, I decided, and I like when you say the word decided, because I think life is just a bunch of decision making. You wake up every day, you decide, I'm going to do this or I'm not going to do this, period, right? Um, I've decided that perfection is unattainable, so I'm not even going to try to be perfect. As a matter of fact, I actually welcome imperfection because I feel that that's what life is about, right? Because if I'm trying to do things the perfect way, or if I want things to go perfectly, then I'm always going to be disappointed because that has been my experience. I mean, I'm always like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm like, oh shit, it didn't happen the way I wanted to. So I've just learned to embrace imperfection. So when things get thrown at me, first of all, I'm like, oh, and then after I'm jolted, I'm like, okay, how am I going to adjust? And I adjust. And then later on, that's when I go back and I'll say, oh crap, that happened. For me, it's at the end of the day that I go back and I look at it. Because in my mind, I'm like, it's gonna happen. So at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, that actually happened. How did I adjust to it? How did I change? And what sucked about it, because change is not always good. Because I'm like, okay, what was horrible about that thing that just got thrown at me? But on the flip side, I always ask myself, what was good about it? Because there's always a good and a bad part. Well, what sucked? Because the fact is, it sucked. It messed up my day. But because it messed up my day, what was good? What good came out of it? What did I learn? And that's what I always ask myself. What did I learn? How did I grow?
I was listening to you, and that text that I sent you, hey, are you wanted to do this? I think that
Mm,
it's easier for me to offer an
yeah,
exit to
yeah, yeah,
others,
yeah.
but it's not easy for me to create that exit if I need it. So
Mm,
and I was thinking when I was listening to you, it's like why I do this. And
mm,
I feel that sometimes I overthink things.
yeah,
So when I have a plan about
mm,
the day,
yeah,
in some ways it makes me be more relaxed because I don't have to think what I'm
yeah.
going to do. I already make a decision or a plan about the day. So I
Mm,
just go for my phone. Okay, what is next? What is next? What is next?
mm,
And
mm,
and it's easier because I
yeah,
don't have to, okay, to change, to adapt, to
mm,
I
mm,
just go with the flow that I make the decision in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah.
And in some way, yeah, I think that I'm thinking, yes, it makes sense, but at the same time,
Mm,
something needs to change. So now I'm reflecting about what is the purpose of having to plan and why for me it's easier to adapt. Okay, maybe I have an idea.
mm,
I think that life throws me so many things at the same time
yeah,
that in some ways I'm always adapting to the
yeah,
situations, like the big situations, things that
yeah.
are completely out of control.
Mm,
So for me, at least having some plan during the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
it gives me this sense of control, yes, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, it gives me the peace of
Yeah.
having to be organizing more pieces, because
Mm-hmm.
my life right now and in the last few years, it's been in a moving foundation that
Mm-hmm.
it's never completely stable. So
Yeah.
I'm always
Yeah. Yeah.
adapting, moving. So
Mm-hmm.
at least I think that I wanted to know
Some
what is going to
stability.
happen in this small piece
Yeah.
of period of time that
Yeah.
is this day or this weekend. At
Mm-hmm.
least I want to know what is going to happen
Yes.
in my
Yes.
life
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Because in the big picture, if we zoom
Yeah.
out, I don't have any idea. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any control. I'm always
Mm-hmm.
having to adapt.
Yeah.
So I feel that at least if you give me my day,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel that I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when you said that you feel it's easier for you to give someone an exit, I was kind of curious. In giving someone an exit, are you also giving yourself an exit, meaning the exit would be some kind of stability? Because in you giving the person an exit, maybe it helps you feel more stable. I was just, no?
I think that no,
Okay.
because if you will say, hey, I'm not going to do this,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I will have to figure out what I'm going to do with this time
Ah,
that
okay.
we plan.
Yeah.
So I will have to adapt. But for some
Mm-hmm,
reason, it's easy for me to understand that
mm-hmm.
your need change.
Yes.
And I'm not going to push you like, no, we have to do it because it's not my
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah.
But it's not that easy for me to
Yeah.
say, hey, you don't feel it. Just saying, hey, I don't feel it. And I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
better, because I remember one time that we were going to record that I
Yeah.
told you, I know that we have this plan, but right now, what I need is this. But
Yes.
I feel that happened more frequently because I've been in some ways changing
Mm-hmm.
and doing better for myself. But I
Mm-hmm.
feel that it happened because the threshold, like I was so overwhelmed
Yeah.
that I knew that I was
Yeah.
not able to do what I was supposed to do or what I planned to
Right.
do. But
Mm-hmm.
when I'm not in that space where it's just like, I don't feel it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
hear so many young people saying, I don't feel it. And
Yeah.
they are okay
Yeah.
with that. For me, it's like, I don't feel it, but sorry, you have
Yeah.
to go. So I feel that I do that to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not because I'm completely overwhelmed. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you need to do this. And the crazy
Mm-hmm.
part is that I really don't need to do it. It's just
Yeah.
that I planned that.
Yeah.
And because I'm the one planning, I'm also the person that can change the plan. But like I say, yeah, we all have our things. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I struggle with just asking for the exit or
Mm-hmm.
allowing, because sometimes it's not about asking others. Not everything is
Mm-hmm.
done with others, but
Mm-hmm.
saying, today is not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I have to have good reasons to
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
to go to that path.
Could 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 the good reason be I just don't feel like it? Could it be enough? Like, because
I will
that
love
is,
to lie to you and
yeah.
say, yes, it's enough. But
Yeah.
if we are having very
Yeah.
authentic and raw conversations,
Yeah.
I'm not there. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that maybe in the future
Yeah.
I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I'm still having to have that conversation. It's not
Yeah.
just natural that I say, I don't feel it. This
Mm-hmm.
is not, I don't have a due date. This is not something that it really is going to affect my life. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just, not today.
Yeah.
I still have to allow myself and have the conversation
Yeah.
and struggle with myself. Hey, what is the problem? That internal
Yeah.
conversation,
Yeah.
sometimes the part that wins is like, it's okay. No,
Yeah.
don't worry. But
Mm-hmm.
usually that's not the part that wins. Usually one of my son is the one kind of always saying, it's okay, mom, you don't have to. But that internal inner conversation is still there struggling. I can see that for you it's easier.
No, it's
No?
not.
Okay.
Oh no, for me it's not. I also have my internal struggle. I have my internal, battles. Um, and but I think I've learned and I continue to learn to give myself grace. Because I feel like I'm so used to doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't want to let people down.
Mhm.
I don't want to let myself down. You know, I mean, I scheduled this, so I have to do this. But I'm really learning to give myself grace because again, like I said, life throws us a whole bunch of stuff. And we, again, let me speak for myself. I'm so used to doing things the way it's supposed to be done. And in the past couple of years, I've been unlearning that. And I'm trying to relearn instead of be a human doing to actually being a human being.
Mhm.
I'm really trying to give myself grace and give myself permission to be a human being, which is a very odd thing because I am a human being, but I don't know how to be. I know how to do. I've always described myself as a verb, meaning I will do stuff, I will make stuff happen. But in as much as I'm proud of being a verb and I'm proud of doing stuff and making stuff happen, sometimes it's not good because it doesn't allow space for grace. It doesn't allow space for me to be a human being. So when I have that part of me, like you're describing, that's the battle, I always tell that part, cool down, chill. I mean, life is not that serious. You know, the world is not going to end because you didn't do it. I mean, the battle is still happening. So I'm trying to self-soothe. I'm trying to support. I'm trying to love that inner part of me that's literally having like a glitch. I'm glitching internally. Um, but I'm coaching that side of me to tell that side of me that it's okay to be a human being. You don't have to be perfect. Remember, perfection is unattainable. Okay, what can you do today? What can you do right now? And whatever you can do right now today, that is enough because that is what you have the capacity for. So it's always that is the part that I try to use to override the internal dialogue or the internal battle when it shows up and then I breathe.
So how do we close today episode thinking about change, uncertainty, let it go and be and not doing? How you will connect those words?
I'm wondering how would you connect those words?
I don't think that I have a specific answer.
Okay.
I think that for me, it's part of the journey.
Mm,
I'm still in the process of discovering
yeah.
how those pieces, how can I hold those pieces together?
Mm,
I feel that in many ways it's easier, it's better for me. But I'm sure that I'm not there yet.
mm,
But I'm still enjoying the journey
mm,
of seeing how I was and
yeah.
how difficult sometimes I was playing life. And in this evolving process, how sometimes I'm still playing hard, but
Yeah.
there are other moments when I'm playing easier.
Mm,
So for me, that's what is coming to my mind is the evolving piece of who I was
mm,
and what I was allowing myself, and now how I can deal with the situations in a different ways and still feeling that I'm doing my best when I wanted to give my best.
Yeah. Yeah. I see and I hear that. For me, I think the way I connect the pieces is when change happens, just to remind myself that I'm growing. And because growth is sometimes painful, to give myself a very generous amount of grace, and patience and consideration, and also just to, remind myself that it's okay. It's okay to be a human being. It's okay to change. It's okay to evolve. And yeah, it may be scary, but sometimes it's just what I may need. And that I think helps me not be too afraid when change is happening, so just I don't know, just really, really working on grace, giving myself permission to be kind to myself, and to tell myself it's okay to be a human being. I don't have to be doing something all the time. Yeah, and just to embrace it, as scary as it is, but just to embrace it, I think is how I engage with it. And then at the end of the day, I just like crash because it's been, a lot of adapting. So at the end of the day, I'm just spent. So giving myself also permission to just rest at the end of the day.
So we can end here
Mhm.
and just rest.
Yes, I love it. Thank you for joining us.